She used to call me and say, I really like your episodes because, and sometimes with the other directors, I can't always follow the story. And I went, thank you, Mom.
Hey, I'm Brian Dietzen's friend.
And I am Diona Reasonover's friend. And welcome to another episode of NCIS Partners and Probies. This week, we have someone from the Mount Rushmore of NCIS directors.
Dennis. I'm sorry.
We are, of course, talking about
Dennis Smith. Listen, this guy, I'm so excited because I haven't talked to someone who's directed so much NCIS.
Dennis has directed over 100 episodes for the NCIS franchises. That's between the Mothership, New Orleans, Los Angeles, Tony and Ziva, and maybe this next year, New York.
Or maybe this next year, I don't know, my life. I let this guy direct my life. Literally, he has such a great understanding of camera, of character, and of storytelling. I'm really excited.
And in this episode, we really go deep on what it is that makes him a great director as it comes to the technical aspect of it, but more importantly, the character as well. He was there for the foundation of Tony and Ziva.
Yeah.
And we get to talk through all of these things, including his prolific film career, which includes Home Alone,
2, Lost in New York.
Lost in New York.
And let me say that. Can I say it?
You can say it. Go ahead.
Okay.
Deonna's a little excited.
And Purple Rain. He was a camera operator on Purple Rain. I am so excited.
And you're going to be excited too. This is a wonderful episode. And if you like NCIS, you like Dennis Smith's work. So please stay tuned for Dennis Smith. All right, and here we are with Dennis Smith. Dennis, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast.
Thank you for inviting me.
I was just saying, I can't believe that there was not another Dennis Smith or even Dennis L. Smith in the DGA. How'd you manage that?
I have no idea. There is a football player,
Yeah.
Dennis Smith, but he's not in the DGA. Well, Lucky for me.
Yeah, that's good.
So you slid right in there.
Yes.
Exactly. Yes. And you have directed, just to give a little bit of context, you have directed, cut straight to the chase, 55 episodes of The Mothership? How many of Los Angeles?
In total, like 102.
Whoa.
Holy smokes.
Whoa. That's amazing. That's like just around the number that I've done, of episodes, just straight being there.
You have actually done many more than that because I was doing homework last night and I just wanted to find out, because I still think of you as like the new kid.
Yeah.
I thought, wait a second, the new kid's done over 140 episodes and Brian's done over 400.
It's a fair amount.
And I said, mine pale in comparison.
Yeah. Here's the difference. We don't do pre-production. We don't do prep. We don't post. We don't edit.
No, we don't.
We go from one to the next.
Well, we do edit, but we're just using iMovie on our computer to make fan stuff.
And we're just screen capping from our TVs.
Yeah.
Still impressive numbers.
And most recently, you did the last 2 episodes of NCIS Tony and Ziva as well.
Yeah, and I got to go to Budapest and the Canary Islands and all these toys and big, huge crews, and it was like doing a movie. So,
what was international prep?
It was a lot of fun.
What was international prep like? Did you fly out early?
I flew out so early. I was there 2 months ahead because all of the Canary Island locations, because they were along the coast, had to be approved 60 days before you shot there. So they flew me in, and I went back and forth between Budapest and the Canary Islands probably 10 times, scouting and getting all the locations locked in. So I was working for 2.5 months before I even rolled a camera.
Wow.
Man, I was talking to Michael and Cote both about, the plan before they started shooting. Oh, we're going to go to the Canary Islands at the end and this and that. And I thought, where's Jimmy Palmer in all of this? Because you guys can't be doing all this without your buddy Jimmy, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so we were talking about that and saying, when it comes to a season 2, we got to get some NCIS folks in there. It wasn't just me saying that, and I thought, this could be really fun. And I was so bummed that it didn't make a season 2, but you guys made the absolute most of the single season.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and it was also very special for me to get back together with Michael and Cote, who I've always been very close with on NCIS because Cote was from Chile and didn't have any family here. Michael was here with his son, a single dad. They would spend Christmas and Thanksgiving and the holidays at my house with my family. So the two of them have always been like extended family for me. So.
Oh, wow. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know
it was very emotional for me to work with them again.
Yeah. And you were really there. You were like one of the cornerstones of the foundation of that relationship on screen. For Tiva, with that storytelling, with alongside some of our amazing writers. Jesse Stern comes to mind, of really being the people that laid the foundation for that TV show to even exist and to form this like kind of seminal relationship on NCIS.
I got to know though. I got to jump in before we pass this. Did they cook anything? Did Michael and Cote cook anything for Thanksgiving or for Christmas?
This is what people want to know.
I mean, kind of.
Yeah.
No. They just came over and they ate. Cote played with the kids. Michael grabbed a guitar and would sit out on the front porch and play music for the kids. And it was a real family get together environment.
Okay, that's very cool. Okay, I interrupted. Can we talk a little bit about the way that you guys kind of all work together to construct that diva relationship?
I was really fortunate in the fact that I got to introduce like a lot of the new characters when they came on board, and the Ziva character was always one that. It was like one of those. Sorry, there I go, talking like Michael Zimberg. It was always one of those characters that you continue to sort of peel stuff back and discover who she was. And I think Don had a general idea of who she was, but as the stories unfolded, it revealed more and more about her. And as the episodes went on, it became just a fuller character. And her and Michael just sort of always had this slightly contentious relationship because she didn't put up with any crap from anybody.
Yeah.
And I think a little bit their on-set relationship was a little bit like their offset relationship. They had this almost brother-sister relationship and maybe a little sexual tension.
Yeah, yeah. And that played very differently than the Tony DiNozzo and Kate, who had just left, who it definitely was, I'm going to try and get her, I'm going to try and get him. And it seemed very sibling poking each other.
Brother, sister, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. And so when you added that, when that element was added in of some sort of sexual tension, but always unfulfilled, boy, that
it's the best.
That wick just burned for a long, long time.
Yeah.
My gosh, we just don't have any of that now. The most we have is like, who's getting in, the crafty first? Like don't cut me in line. Like we don't have any of that on set right now.
So when you talked about Don kind of constructing this, tell us about how you came to work with Don. Did you work on JAG prior to our show?
I was with David Kelly for 12 years, and I started directing on The Practice.
And you were DP on The Practice?
Yeah. I was a DP, and I ended up directing about 25 episodes of that. And I decided I wanted to leave and go direct full time. And that's when I went and did a couple episodes of JAG and met Don, who was bigger than life and very intimidating. He was one of those people that you sort of come into the room and you feel like you've walked into the Don Bellisario vacuum.
Oh, yeah.
And I did a couple episodes of JAG, and he was starting NCIS. And I was very fortunate because, first of all, I love moving the camera, and I love making the camera a character in the scene with the actors. And Billy Webb, who was the DP at the time, he was the best at moving the camera, and he and I both understood what Don wanted to do with the movement and the handoffs, and don't worry if you don't get that line in this angle because you'll get it in another angle. And he loved sort of jumping around the room, very much in the genre of the Bourne Identity.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of the visual palette you guys were looking at, right? That's what you wanted.
Yes. And so early on, Don knew that I got it. And because I got it, he let me do sort of my own thing. He was very trusting when it came to my wanting to take it away from the script a little bit, or make it a little bigger or make it a little smaller. I would call him and I'd say, "How much do you trust me?"
Oh, wow.
He'd go, "What do you want to do?" and it was just it was always fun because I felt like I myself was so invested in it because he did what I like to do with the crew is take the ideas, make sure everybody feels involved. And you're a little bit of a cheerleader,
right,
when you're a director.
Right.
And Don was like that with me, the same way I was with the crew. He got me invested and let me do my thing. And then I did the same thing with the crew. And it gets very exciting when all that, see, I get excited just talking about it.
Yeah.
Whenever you get all that energy on the set and it's all focused in one direction, which is also part of your job, is making sure you're heading that right direction. But yeah, so I can go on and on about this.
Well, no, I'm fascinated by this because you were a Steadicam operator previous to all this. So
yes,
I can imagine that the visual language and vocabulary that you had must have been, that must have been what got the crew so excited.
Yeah, because we were always doing something new and doing something that they hadn't done before, or seeing an angle of the. I mean, how many times can you be in the squad room and shoot from the same place?
Right.
But we were always finding different ways to make it fresh.
Mm-hmm. Like what? Like when you talk about making it bigger, making a moment bigger. What's an example of something you might do?
Well, for example, with the Tony and Ziva stuff, it's fun to be subtle and to sort of underplay stuff, but there are times when you can just let it be bigger than life. And there were times where we would do something in a scene and people would start cracking up. And we would end up using that because it was so natural and so organic. And I just love to let that go.
That's very cool.
I mean, there's some pretty amazing episodes within those first 4 or 5 seasons, and I feel as though, correct me if I'm wrong, but out of 20, we were doing 24 episodes at that point.
Yeah.
Weren't you doing about 5 a year?
Wow.
I was doing at least 6. In a couple of years, I did 8.
I mean, that is. For our listeners, nowadays on most network television shows, the most you'll do out of a 20 to 22 episode order is 3.
Yeah.
And that's a lot.
Yeah.
So to do between 6 and 8, that because for every episode, you're going to have your 7 days of prep.
Yes.
And then you're also going to have post-production, meaning your director's cut, and that's going to take 5 days afterwards as well.
Plus 8 days to shoot.
Plus 8 days to shoot. So it seems like if you're doing 8, that's 1 out of every 3 episodes. So you're pretty much going after you post, you're going into pre-production on the next one.
Yes.
Your DNA is all over this. Yeah. Is what I'm hearing.
Well, I'm a little of a grown up ADD kid. So when there's a lot going on, I'm very calm. Yeah. So, the more that's going on, I think the better I like it.
That's me too, actually. I went to a Nine Inch Nails concert and I was so tired and I've been so stressed out. I fell asleep at a Nine Inch Nails concert, but it was comforting, all the noise. You know what I mean? I liked it.
So I have a question. Do you think you have like a obviously you've watched all of your compatriots episodes as well, all your fellow directors. Do you think that each one of you kind of has like a signature style? I mean, or do you think that, like, especially in those early days, you were blending together to find the style of the whole show?
I think each of the directors had their own style. I know. I think people can tell when it's one of my episodes.
Yeah.
Or at least my mother could.
Yeah. Okay.
She used to call me and say, Dennis, I really like your episodes because I can understand what's going on. And sometimes with the other directors, I can't always follow the story. And I went, thank you, Mom.
Yeah. You're like, Mom, on mine, you're paying more attention.
yeah, exactly.
No, I get that from my dad as well. He's like, yeah, I really like the ones that Jimmy's featured a lot more in. And I said, I think that might have a little to do with bias.
Yeah. My mom's
exactly.
least favorite line is Casey said, like when somebody gets a text or they say like, oh, Casey said, she's like, I'm tired of those Casey saids. I want you to say it. It's okay, Mom.
Exactly.
It's okay.
Like, Mom, I can't be on screen the whole time. It would kill me.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about some things I have no experience with, which is your forays into the other NCISs. I know you did plenty on Los Angeles as well.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Did you happen to do like 8 episodes a year for them as well, or?
No.
Okay.
No, I did, 3 or 4.
Okay. And what? And were you on New Orleans as well?
I was down there for
A few of them.
I think 2 of them.
Okay.
Yeah, just 2. That was all I was available for.
What is?
Go ahead.
I was going to say, just what is it about NCIS that you connect so much with?
Yeah.
I just really like the nuclear family of it, and I think that works beyond everything else and drives story. Mm-hmm. I love relationships and close knit families, and that's what NCIS has always been to me. It's always been a story about a family who happens to do this.
Yeah. And so when you're working on each of these different families, did you kind of take something different into each one of them as far as storytelling is concerned? I mean, because it's not just, some stamp that you repeat, right, from one television show to the next. They have their own different characters, their own different relationships, and you can't repeat story and all that sort of stuff. That has to be difficult when you're talking about 100 and however many that you've done, to not be repeating yourself as a director and helping to tell stories. Like, what was it like working on Los Angeles?
It was different in the respect it was more action oriented.
Okay.
And it was always designed to be a little bit darker, but I've always let story dictate. I don't come in and say, this is the show, this is how it's going to be shot, this is the style of the show, because that style may not be appropriate for that episode and that story you're telling. So I always let story drive everything else.
Okay. Now I get to ask the fun question. Do you have a favorite character? And you can say someone that you haven't directed to.
It's true. You don't let us influence you.
Yeah,
in
don't
any way.
let us.
Dennis Smith,
Well,
our favorite.
Jimmy Palmer's always been a favorite of mine, but I always love working with David McCallum because I was a fan of his since I was a kid. I was a card-carrying member of the United network command for law and enforcement whenever I was a kid. And I had my little snub-nosed 38 and my Man from U.N.C.L.E. ID.
But there was really a card?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was actually a club you could join through the TV show.
That's so cute. Like
Yes.
A Christmas Story?
Yes.
Oh, that's yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like Little Orphan Annie.
Yeah, exactly like that.
That's
wow.
cool.
And I've always had so much fun working with the DiNozzo character.
Yeah.
Because he was one that you could let go and do the craziest things, and yet as long as you pulled him back and had the moment where you knew he was also a good agent, and that's why he was there, like you could get away with murder. And we did.
We did.
You know, as an example, there was an episode where there was this hidden room in a garage, and Gibbs is out front talking with FBI agent Fernell, and in the background you see DiNozzo stretching his arms out against the garage and rotating to the other side like he's doing this walking pirouette with his hands. And Fernell looks over and says, "What's he doing?" And Gibbs says, "Don't ask." And it turns out that he has figured out that the measurements in this garage didn't make sense and that there was a hidden room there.
Yeah.
So from the craziness came a brilliant moment.
Yeah.
So there's the balance.
I'm curious about that scene because that has been clipped so many times, and I've seen it so many times. I forget if that was actually in the script or if that's something that Michael just did, because he's like, "Oh, my wingspan's 6 feet, so let me do this," and like and boom, boom, boom.
No, it was not in the script, and I came up with the idea, and I wanted him just to do something different, not just pop out of the garage and go, "Hey, boss, something's not adding up here."
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's a great moment. I love that.
So I have a few different favorite episodes that you've done, Dennis, but I think that the probies of this show, the fans of NCIS, would definitely point to Truth or Consequences. Speaking of DiNozzo, as being probably one of the most popular episodes in the history of our show, and that was some beautiful storytelling. I mean, and also it was that single location was so important. What was that one? Tell us a little bit about the process of that shooting.
Well, it involved DiNozzo being held hostage and being tortured while he was trying to rescue Ziva and McGee, and it was a long scene, and I decided, because we had just started shooting digitally, so we didn't have like a 9-minute film magazine to run through and have to stop and reload. Oh. So I went to Michael early in the morning and I said, "I want you to have all these words down because we're going to shoot this as a oneer." Now I'm talking 15 pages of dialogue, and we're going to shoot the whole thing. And I said, "Take your time." And I went to our DP, Billy Webb, and I said, "Okay, I want you to set up the Steadicam on the dolly, and we're going to choreograph a shot that's going to shoot all 15 pages back to back."
In one shot.
Wow.
Yes. Wow. In one shot. So I went back to Michael and I said, "And by the way, take your time because we're probably not going to shoot anything till after lunch." Now, on a TV show, saying you're not going to shoot anything till after lunch means like, well, what the hell are they doing?
Yeah.
You got basically five hours to prepare.
Yeah.
So we did it, and it worked out great. And so we had this big long oneer, and with a few embellishments here and there. And I think to this day it's still one of Michael's favorite episodes because he got to act.
Oh yeah.
And be in the moment and not have to, okay, cut, regroup, that'll be 20 minutes, come back and get back into it. Because it's hard sometimes you two know you're into an emotional scene, and then you got to cut, and it's 40 minutes to relight, and then you're back and trying to get back to where you were.
Right.
It isn't easy.
Acting in 30-second spurts can be much more difficult than being in a 3-hour play.
Yes.
Yeah, I have to give a little context to oneer. So one of the most famous oneers I can think of right off the top of my head is oh my God, help me up. Oh, you were going to say Goodfellas.
I was going to say Goodfellas.
Okay,
going in the back. So the famous scene where Ray Liotta is going through the back of the kitchen in the nightclub, and they follow him through, and then they eventually make it up to the table, and the show starts, and he's he has Lorraine Bracco there, and throughout that entire 2.5 or 3 minutes, they never cut, and everything is choreographed between the maybe 30 or 40 background actors they go through in the kitchen, and then the 150 or so people within the audience. Everything's choreographed, so it's like theater. You get one shot at it, and you never cut out of it.
And a regular scene, a 3-minute scene can easily have 30 cut. You're cutting back and forth between people. You're cutting to the room. You're cutting towards the master shot, a close, a tight, a medium. So to do something with the trust it takes, the knowledge, the expertise. That's incredible. And even that scene, I think that scene is only maybe 2 minutes or Touch of Evil.
3 minutes, yeah.
Touch of Evil I was thinking of, the beginning of that with Charlton Heston, where they're driving down and crossing the border, and then the explosion. That's 4 minutes. So to do 15 pages, my mind is absolutely blown.
Well, the most famous, actually, I think the most famous movie that was consisted just of oneers was Rope. You remember that?
Sure.
Hitchcock. Yeah. So they did a full film magazine, which was 12 minutes or 9 minutes.
Yeah.
And they just did that consecutively, and then they would have a clever cut where they would try and work it in there. But that was, that was a long, long time ago, and it was set like a play. So it was a proscenium, and it was just one angle because you couldn't get in there and go. They didn't have Steadicams back then and all that. But that's some theater that Michael's involved in. On
it's a commitment.
Yeah.
And I have done so many oneers in my career, and there have been times whenever I've come up with the idea and rehearse it, and then I rehearse it again, and I'm thinking, oh shit, this is kind of not working the way I thought it was
really
going to work.
Yeah.
And then there was usually one little tweak where I would go, where's the problem? Okay, then I identify the problem and fix it and made it work. But there have been a couple moments where I've said to myself, oh, what the hell are you doing here?
Now, did you develop your love of that, continuous shooting, while working with David Kelly, when you were on The Practice, or was it prior to that?
No, because on The Practice it was so dialogue heavy.
Yeah.
There wasn't really as many opportunities to do that. I think the oneers really developed on NCIS.
Okay. Oh wow.
And also the fact that Don let me do it.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting that you say we developed an NCIS because we were, started out as such a cut-heavy show. Mm-hmm. When we had this movement, say I was mostly obviously an autopsy, but if David and I were discussing something or doing an autopsy, his coverage would be the camera roaming behind me, constantly moving, and mine would be roaming behind him and constantly moving. Mm-hmm. That there was just cut after cut. It's interesting to hear your brain as a director saying no, my design in my head though is that this is going to be a single shot, even if it does, get used later as being cut up.
Yeah. And again, it's about storytelling. I will never do a oneer just to do a oneer unless it serves the story and serves the characters.
What's the special feel that a oneer brings? What are you looking for with those?
I'm looking for something that you can't turn away from, where you're watching, and cuts have a tendency to let people be able to turn away. Mm-hmm. I think it was in the 90s. They did this test, and they found out that if you are in a close-up on TV, people are like 80% less likely to change channels than if you're in a wide shot, which is why on television you see so much close-up work, because if you're in a close-up, I think, they don't want to offend you by turning you off.
You're right there.
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry,
Exactly.
I gotta go walk the dog, Diona.
Yeah, and it's the same way with a oneer. I think it's engaging if it's done right, and also it gets the actors charged up. If they know we're doing this 2.5-page scene as a oneer, and then they get to go home.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, everybody's really on board.
I want to film geek out a little bit. I know that this is moving away from NCIS, but do you actually have favorite examples of that? I mean, we talked about some of ours.
Of
oneers.
Oh, yes. There was a scene where Gibbs was interrogating some naval personnel, and it was scripted as a montage.
Mm-hmm.
He's talking to this guy, and then he's talking to this guy, and then he's talking to this guy, and there were like 5 different people he was talking to in the interrogation room. And I decided that it would be fun to do it as a oneer, where you go behind someone's back and there's the next guy.
Yeah.
And then you come around the back, you hand off to Gibbs, and then Gibbs takes us over and it's the new guy. And I had those actors. One would be under the table waiting, one would be outside the door, and Gibbs would like walk around the room in questions, and we would just hand off. People were diving out the door, and the camera was just continuously going around the room. And it's still one of my favorite scenes, because it took everybody, and everybody was just so involved and excited about doing it, and it worked.
We have a message actually directly for Timothy Chalamet. That's ballet.
Yes.
That's ballet.
Yes.
We're assuming
it was definitely ballet.
Yes.
That's I got to figure out what episode that would. Do you know that off the top of your head? What episode that would be?
I don't, and here's why. It's like I keep everything about an episode in my head. I can go into the editing room and say, in take 3, there was this moment where Jimmy Palmer did this. I want to use that.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you exactly what happened in every scene, every take. And then once I get into the editing room and I finish my cut, I go, whoosh.
Yes.
It's like my own onboard RAM.
Yes.
It's like I have to flush it. Like 80% of the time, I can't even tell you the name of the episode.
Yeah.
Whereas Michael Weatherly remembers episodes, scenes, like he quotes stuff to me about things I did.
Biggest fan of this franchise ever. Yeah.
Yes.
That's how my brain works too, because there's been a couple of times, it's very rare, that once the scene is gone, it's gone. All those words are gone. I knew it. But then we've had to come back and they've said, I'm so sorry, after lunch we actually have to pick something up. We missed this. And I'm like, what?
That's the worst.
I don't know that anymore. It's gone.
No, it's that ritual as an actor for me. I have my sides and whatnot at the end of every night, putting them in the trash, because I got to make space for new stuff in my head tomorrow, and that's gone. It's a healthy practice too, because you have to let go of what was in order to create space for what will be. It's artistically. Otherwise, you're going to be telling the same thing over and over again.
Yeah. Speaking of, can I ask you a question?
Please.
Speaking of letting go, how do you sort of, I know that you say you like to let story come in first, but let's say you walk in there and the actor is just kind of not serving the story, the choices that they're making, and you're not sort of able to break out of that. How do you kind of let go of what your notion of what the story could be?
I think directors have to be a little bit of master manipulators.
Yeah.
A little bit?
Well,
With your marionettes.
I think, when you've done this as long as I have, there are ways to, first of all, make people feel like they're being heard. And also making sure that they understand where they are in the episode, in the scene, where they've been before, because I know you may find this hard to believe, but some actors don't read the whole script.
Wait, what?
What?
They only read their parts.
This just in.
We're shocked. We're shocked.
In fact, in the industry, it's called the actor pass. When you open the script and you only read your lines. Okay, cool. Yeah, I like the script.
Usually, if someone's having trouble with a scene, they first of all may not understand it, and that's my job to explain it. For some reason, they may be afraid of it, and that's also my job to go in and let them know that I'm here right with them.
Yeah.
And we're gonna climb this mountain together. I always refer to myself as like I'm a Sherpa guide, and I'm gonna help you get to the top of the mountain, and we're gonna do this together.
This is beautiful.
I love that.
this.
I love that. Earlier, you and I, before we started filming, we were talking about our shared appreciation of Todd Smith, of LL Cool J. And I know you worked with him so much on NCIS Los Angeles. Diona and I just did a 2-parter on our show with him this year. One where I was working heavily with him one week, she was working heavily with him the next week. The guy is absolutely fantastic.
He's wonderful.
So I have a question for you regarding him. He has a new show. It's coming out this fall or whenever. I'm not sure when this podcast is going to air, but it's NCIS New York with him and Scott Kahn. Scott Gemmell, the creator of The Pit, is wrote the pilot on it. If he calls you to say, "Hey, Dennis, we want to tap you on the shoulder and bring you in to direct an episode of New York, or 6 or 8
or 20,"
First off, is that something you'd be interested in? And also, without putting the cart completely before the horse, how do you suppose that sort of storytelling with New York versus Los Angeles versus DC, like how would that sort of storytelling start developing in a visual style?
I think it's going to be a much darker, edgier show, and I think it's something Scott Gemmell's always wanted to do, and Todd just loves the idea that he's going to be back in New York working. I actually have exchanged a couple text messages, and I feel free to drop my name if you feel so inclined. And he texts me back, "You got it, brother," because LL Cool J is Todd Smith. And I'm Dennis Smith, so he refers to me as Brother Smith.
I see the resemblance.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm about to drop your name for NCIS because we actually have been ships passing in the night. We just
We need to work together.
I agree, especially if every scene's a oneer. Every scene that I'm in is just a oneer.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. For the 1000th episode celebration that I came up for too, Steve Binder mentioned, we could get you back here having a little fun.
Great.
I went,
Dennis.
Well, that might be a blast. I think the last NCIS I did was one that somebody dropped out of, and Mark Harmon. This was like a year after I had left and was doing some other things.
Yeah, it was season 15, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark Harmon had an episode where he had to go to court and he was testifying on the stand, and it was a big Gibbs episode. And whenever this director fell out, he went to the producers and said, "Do you think Dennis would come back and do this?" And they called me and I said, "Whose idea was this?" They said, it was Mark Harmon's idea. And I went, "I'd love to do it."
Mark wants me back.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Should we do some Proby questions?
Yes.
Also, what was that episode? It was Brutal something? Was the episode that we're talking about from season 15?
From season 15? I don't know.
Was there a Brutal something? Maybe I made that up. Maybe I'm thinking of brutalism.
We're gonna flash
We're gonna
it right
look it
down
up.
here at the bottom of the screen. Season 15.
No, we're gonna cut this.
Gibbs
We're not gonna.
it was in a courtroom. We're not cutting this.
We're definitely cutting this.
So we're moving on to some Probie questions. So the fans of NCIS have lovingly been dubbed the NCIS Probies. And
nice.
Each week on social media, we put out the call and we say, we have Dennis Smith coming in this week, legendary NCIS director. What questions do you have for him? So we have questions specifically from the fans for you.
Oh, I love this.
Yes, here we go.
Because I love the fans.
Okay, here's I like this one because it's very direct. Out of all the NCISs and all their subsidiaries and sister shows, which NCIS was your favorite to direct and why? Which was the most challenging?
Well, I think it was sort of a tie between NCIS, as we've referred to the mothership, and NCIS LA, because on both of those shows, I had so much freedom. They just let me, do what I wanted to do. They trusted me, and that is so great as a director, because so many times you come in and people second guess you, and like they really want to direct, but they're kind of doing it through you.
Got it. Yeah.
I've had producers in tone meetings that would go through the entire script and give you line readings.
Ooh.
Now, she should say it like this when this happens.
That's painful.
And it was like, why don't we get to the set and rehearse with the actors who know these characters and see what happens?
Yeah. They might surprise you.
Yeah.
They might do some acting.
They might act.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They might be in a moment. I've always said I'm a little bit like a psychologist. Like, I don't want to tell you what the problem is or what the solution is.
Yeah.
Like, I plant seeds. And if those seeds grow and bloom on screen during a take, like that's the best magic in the world.
That's the dream.
That's great. Okay. This is a Probie question, but it's technically a non-NCIS question. Do you have any stories from Home Alone? You're a camera operator on Home Alone, yes?
I was the camera operator on Home Alone and Home Alone 2, Lost in New York.
Oh, nice.
Chris Columbus, yeah?
Yeah, Chris Columbus. The only quick story I'll tell you is that I got mink earmuffs from Chris Columbus, the director, because after we had done Home Alone, we were doing another movie together called Only the Lonely with John Candy.
Oh, yes.
And
that one's hilarious.
The box office started coming in for Home Alone. So we would come into the set on Only the Lonely every morning and be looking at these box office numbers, and it was 20 million, 40 million, 50 million. And I told Chris after it reached 50 million, I said, this is going to make 150 million. He says, if this makes 150 million, I'm buying you mink earmuffs. and he did. He bought me mink earmuffs. But
it's a very oddly specific thing.
Home Alone was great. And we had so much fun. Macaulay was great. Joe Pesci was amazing. Danny Stern was wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
And we had a great crew. And Home Alone 2 was even better because off the success of the first one, like, we could do no wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we had the checkbook.
May I suggest that maybe if you do NCIS New York, it is technically set in the same universe as Home Alone 2, Lost in New York?
Yes.
I mean, could that be the same cinematic universe?
Absolutely. Well, it is New York.
It is New York. Everything in New York is all the same.
That had to be an incredible trip, though, between those two films. I mean, and also, Catherine O'Hara. That's when I didn't know. I was younger when it came out, so I didn't really know of her. Second City, all that sort of stuff. But seeing her in that movie is what introduced her to me, and I thought, oh my gosh, this woman, incredible.
We had John Candy for one day, whenever he and his polka band, polka, were traveling with Catherine O'Hara in the back of this cube van. And so we worked like a 22-hour day to get all of his stuff shot. And the very last stuff we did was in the back of this cube van. And Catherine and John are both basically comedians.
Yeah.
And they started breaking into this toothless person routine. And they were these two toothless people talking back and forth to each other. Now the crew's exhausted. We're in like hour 21 and we start laughing.
Oh.
And once we started laughing, they just went for the guts. And they kept on and went on and on and on till literally we were laying on the ground holding our stomachs trying to catch our breath.
Oh man.
But it was so much fun. And Catherine, God bless her.
Oh man, no kidding.
Thank you so much.
And I'll go back one more that you might appreciate.
Oh,
please.
1984, Purple Rain.
Oh yeah, my wife's other favorite movie. Yeah.
Yes.
You were on Purple Rain?
I was one of the camera operators on Purple Rain.
I did not. I missed this somehow in my research.
And did
She's
all
straightening your hair
the
now.
concert stuff.
Can you come sit here? You switch. You go.
So Purple Rain, during lunch, the crew would break for lunch, and there was this stand-up upright piano in the back room. And I would go lay on the couch and listen to Prince just play. Just him and me. And we had a huge concert scene to do. It was the Greyhound Bus Stadium in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
We had like 200 extras there. All this huge concert scene takes. And he played everything live. He did nothing to playback. Every song, every take was played live.
This is mind-blowing.
So he came out and they started playing the first song, cameras are rolling, and he goes like this and goes cut. Now they had speakers set up on the stage that were 10 feet high.
Just stacked.
So he pulls his managers over and they're having a little sidebar, and the managers turn and say, we're going home today. Prince is not happy with the sound system. And even though he knew that it was going to be replaced later, he wanted the audience and the people there who were the extras playing the audience, he wanted them to have a genuine concert experience and have the music the right way. So we shut down that day. They brought in a whole new sound system and came back the next day, and we rolled cameras. But every take, and we did a lot of takes, everything was played live, and that was the most amazing experience.
I am shook. This is such a good story.
Isn't that cool?
Oh, that's so
that
cool.
is incredible.
You're doing that, and then when we're in between takes, I'm just listening to him tell dad jokes on set.
It's true.
You gotta.
I got some good ones.
He does.
Let me
He
one up
actually
your
does.
Prince story with a dad joke. Dennis, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Are you kidding me? This is a blast. I love you guys.
Oh, I love it. We got to get you back on the mothership and helping us tell stories there. I miss you, man.
Thank you.
And I'm hoping you get to do some New York this year as well. It'd be really wonderful.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Well, thank you. And then thank you guys so much for listening to another episode of NCIS Partners and Probies. You can catch us each and every Tuesday on, YouTube, Spotify, Odyssey, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you find your podcasts.
Touch my hand. I want to touch the man who sat next to Prince.
You did it.
And just keep in mind, in those days, we used to watch projected film dailies. So every day we would finish the day's work, and then we would all go into this big room together with a screen set up and a projector, and we would watch we would watch all the previous day's work
And you just watch concert.
with Prince.
I have never felt like I was born in the wrong time, but I'm like, if you had given me, if I had just been available.
Yeah, it was fun.
This is cool. Thank you. Oh,
Thank you.